There comes a moment when a person realizes that the battle they've been fighting is not with the world, but with themselves. A moment when excuses lose their power, when blaming others falls silent, and when the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Your life is a reflection of your mind. And if your mind is undisciplined, chaotic, reactive, or weak, your life will mirror that disorder. The Stoics did not promise comfort. They promised clarity, strength, and freedom from the illusions that bind ordinary people. They offered tools to confront weaknesses, face reality without denial, and rebuild oneself from the inside out. These teachings are not gentle, they are transformative. They break the patterns that keep you small and forge the version of you capable of living with purpose, power, and peace. You are not a prisoner of who you've been. You can break the habits that limit you. You can train your mind the way a warrior trains the body, through repetition, awareness, and discipline. Each lesson you apply strengthens clarity, resilience, and self-mastery. As you listen to these 10 rules, let them challenge you. Let them disrupt your comfort. Let them confront the parts of you have avoided. If this message resonates, subscribe to this channel to receive more of this wisdom every week. Growth begins with the willingness to listen, reflect, and act. 1. Stop negotiating with your weaker self. Your weaker self is persistent. It whispers that rest is more valuable than discipline, that distraction is preferable to focus, and that the easier path is safer than the right path. Every day, this voice tempts you to trade your potential for comfort, but the Stoics knew that surrendering to this voice is the first step toward a life half-lived. Growth begins the moment you refuse to negotiate with weakness. Discipline is not a punishment, it is liberation. Each refusal to surrender to temptation strengthens your character, sharpens your mind, and cultivates self-respect. The weaker self wants pleasure without effort, safety without risk, and satisfaction without struggle. By constantly appeasing it, you train yourself to be passive, reactive, and dependent on circumstance. Consider the way a blacksmith works. Each strike against the iron is painful, repetitive, and exhausting, yet it is necessary. Without this consistent pressure, the metal remains soft, malleable, and incapable of holding shape. Your mind works the same way. Each time you choose discipline over weakness, you forge resilience, clarity, and purpose. The Stoics taught that the voice of weakness fades only when it is met with consistent action. You do not wait for motivation. You act, and the mind adapts. You rise early when your body protests. You speak honestly when the ego wants comfort. You work steadily when distractions beckon. Each act is a victory over the self that would keep you small. By refusing to negotiate with your weaker self, you reclaim power. You become capable of deliberate choice, unshaken by the seductive voice of comfort. And in that reclamation, your mind begins to rebuild itself, stronger, sharper, and more resolute than ever. If you're ready to keep strengthening your mind and building the life you deserve, subscribe now and continue exploring these practical Stoic lessons with us. Each rule is a tool to reclaim power over yourself and your life. 2. Master your reactions before they master you. Life is unpredictable. People will betray you, criticize you, or misunderstand you. Circumstances will shift, fortune will fluctuate, and chaos will rise without warning. Yet none of this has the power to disturb your peace unless you allow it. The Stoics recognize that external events are neutral. Only your judgment about them creates disturbance. Your mind is a fortress, and your reactions are its gates. Leave them unguarded, and the smallest insult, setback, or disappointment will flood in, overwhelming reason and peace. Guard them, and you remain unshaken, calm, and decisive. Every moment of emotional mastery strengthens the foundation of your mind. This mastery is not suppression. Emotions are natural signals, guiding you to awareness, reflection, or action. Anger is information, not instruction. Fear is a signal, not a command. By observing without immediate surrender, you create space for reason to act. The Stoics practice pausing before responding. A breath, a reflection, a measured choice. When provoked, they did not lash out impulsively. When challenged, they did not crumble. They understood that the mind that governs reactions governs life. Each decision made consciously reinforces freedom. Each reaction surrendered unconsciously reinforces slavery. Master your reactions and you master your life. Chaos may swirl around you, but your inner world remains steady. Your peace, clarity, and power become immune to the turbulence outside. The choice of calm, deliberate response is yours. Take it daily, consistently, relentlessly. 3. Seek discomfort or stay exactly where you are. Comfort is seductive, quiet, and invisible in its damage. It tells you to avoid struggle, to postpone growth, and to settle for what is easy rather than what is meaningful. Most people spend their lives in this state, numbed to the subtle erosion of potential. The Stoics knew that true strength emerges only through deliberate discomfort. To avoid it is to remain stagnant. To embrace it is to evolve. Every challenge, every moment of uncertainty, every act that requires courage or effort is a teacher. Pain and difficulty are not punishments but guides, revealing hidden weaknesses, untested limits, and unrecognized strength. A person who turns away from discomfort denies themselves the opportunity to cultivate resilience, patience, and wisdom. Growth is rarely born in comfort, it is forged in the crucible of adversity. Consider the modern life of endless convenience. Technology, entertainment, and routine shield you from struggle, but they also shield you from growth. A life without challenge leaves the mind soft, reactive, and passive. The Stoic intentionally steps into difficulty, waking early, practicing self-control, speaking truth under pressure, facing fears, not for pleasure, but for transformation. Discomfort shapes character in ways comfort cannot. Each difficult choice made deliberately strengthens resolve. Each moment of resistance against ease deepens clarity. Each encounter with fear, loss, or uncertainty becomes an opportunity to reclaim agency. The Stoic does not seek suffering for its own sake, but embraces it as the medium through which mastery is forged. To fix your mind, you must choose the path of deliberate discomfort. Every small, conscious act of courage, discipline, or effort becomes a foundation. The world may remain chaotic and uncontrollable, but you, your mind, your judgment, your character, grow ever stronger. And as you take these steps toward discomfort and deliberate action, subscribe to continue exploring Stoic wisdom that reshapes your mind and strengthens your life. 4. Let go of what you cannot control. The world is vast, unpredictable, and often indifferent. People act irrationally, events unfold without warning, and circumstances shift in ways beyond your influence. Most people fight against this reality, wasting energy and peace on the impossible. The Stoics understood that suffering is not caused by events themselves, but by the resistance to what cannot be changed. To fix your mind, you must release the illusion of control over the uncontrollable. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It is not resignation or weakness. It is clarity. It is seeing the world as it is, rather than as you wish it would be. The Stoic distinguishes between what belongs to them, thoughts, actions, judgments, and what does not. They focus energy on the former and release attachment to the latter. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every unexpected loss is a reminder of impermanence and uncertainty. By resisting these truths, the untrained mind amplifies pain. By accepting them, the Stoic remains steady, calm, and decisive. They respond with virtue rather than reaction, reason rather than emotion. In this practice, freedom emerges because the mind is no longer tethered to chance or opinion. This principle applies to daily life. A harsh word from a colleague, a traffic delay, a sudden change in plans, all are external. Your response, your judgment, and your effort are internal. Invest where you can, release where you cannot. Peace is not found in controlling the world, it is found in mastering yourself. The mind that embraces this truth becomes unshakable. By letting go of what cannot be controlled, you create room for focus, clarity, and deliberate action. The Stoic does not waste energy resisting reality, they use it to forge strength within it. 5. Face your fears, or they will face you. Fear is a silent ruler over most lives. It whispers doubts, magnifies risk, and convinces the mind to avoid challenges that are essential for growth. Most people flee from fear, seeking safety and comfort, yet the Stoics understood that avoidance is the very mechanism that allows fear to gain power. To fix your mind, you must confront what terrifies you. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the deliberate choice to act despite it. Each time you face a fear, you reclaim territory over your own mind. The difficult conversation, the leap into uncertainty, the truth you are afraid to acknowledge, these moments are the proving grounds of character. Avoid them and fear grows. Confront them and fear diminishes. Fear is also a mirror. It reveals what you value most, where your attachments lie, and which aspects of yourself remain unmastered. By studying it, you gain insight. By meeting it directly, you convert it into strength. Painful though it may be, fear is a teacher, and the Stoic does not ignore their lessons. The untrained mind allows fear to dictate decisions, limit action, and dominate thought. The disciplined mind, however, sees fear as information, not instruction. It chooses response over retreat, courage over avoidance, and action over paralysis. Each confrontation with fear weakens its hold and strengthens clarity, resilience, and self-mastery. To rebuild your mind, you must step toward fear deliberately. Observe it, understand it, and act despite it. In this practice, you transform fear from a master into an instrument, a tool that tests, teaches, and ultimately strengthens your capacity to live fully. If this resonates, subscribe now to explore more Stoic practices that teach you how to face fear and reclaim control over your life, one deliberate action at a time. 6. Take responsibility for everything you are. Blame is the refuge of those unwilling to face themselves. Most people spend their lives pointing outward at circumstances, other people, or fate. To avoid the uncomfortable truth, the mind is yours, and with it comes responsibility. The Stoics knew that self-mastery begins when you stop blaming the world and start owning yourself. Every thought, every habit, every decision, it is yours. Nothing external has the power to define you unless you consent. Weakness, frustration, and failure lose their hold when you recognize that they stem from choice and perception, not circumstance. By taking responsibility, you reclaim control over your mind, your actions, and ultimately your life. Responsibility is freedom. It is the knowledge that your growth, your character, and your peace are in your hands. The Stoic does not wait for permission to change. They do not rely on circumstances, others' approval, or external validation. They act, they reflect, and they refine themselves continuously. When difficulty arises, the responsible mind asks, "What can I do? How can I respond wisely?" rather than, "Who is at fault?" Every moment becomes an opportunity to reclaim power and strengthen character. Excuses fade, procrastination dies, and clarity emerges. To fix yourself, take responsibility for everything you are. Stop avoiding truths about your choices, actions, and weaknesses. Ownership is not punishment. It is the gateway to transformation. Each decision to accept responsibility fortifies the mind, sharpens judgment, and builds the foundation for a disciplined, unshakable self. 7. Embrace solitude to discover yourself. Most people fear being alone, mistaking solitude for emptiness or loneliness. Yet the Stoics understood that solitude is essential for self-mastery. It is in moments of stillness, away from distraction and external influence, that the mind can observe itself clearly, confront weaknesses, and cultivate inner strength. To fix your mind, you must make peace with being alone. Solitude is not isolation, it is deliberate reflection. It allows the mind to examine motives, question patterns, and refine judgment. Without it, people remain reactive, constantly shaped by others' opinions and the noise of the world. With it, clarity emerges. You learn to distinguish between what is necessary and what is trivial, between fear and reason, between impulse and principle. The practice of solitude also fosters independence. When you are comfortable with your own presence, the approval or criticism of others loses its power. Your decisions are guided by wisdom and virtue rather than external validation. Strength grows quietly, not in public applause, but in the hours when you confront yourself honestly. Daily reflection, journaling, or meditation are ways to cultivate the solitude. Even brief moments of focused introspection can reveal hidden fears, untested habits, and unexplored potential. The Stoic uses these insights to direct action, to discipline thought, and to align choices with principles rather than whims. To rebuild your mind, embrace solitude. Allow yourself to be fully present with your own thoughts. In this practice, the mind is sharpened, clarity is restored, and the foundation of deliberate, unshakable self-mastery is laid. As you practice solitude and reflection, subscribe to the channel to continue learning how to strengthen your mind, sharpen clarity, and act deliberately in every area of life. 8. Practice honesty with yourself. The most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves. We deceive ourselves with excuses, justifications, and illusions that make our failures easier to bear. Yet the Stoics understood that self-deception is the greatest barrier to growth. You cannot fix what you refuse to see. You cannot rebuild your mind if you refuse to confront your own truth. Honesty with yourself is uncomfortable because it exposes weakness, laziness, and denial. It forces you to look at your habits, your choices, and your motives without rationalization. Most people hide behind partial truths, painting themselves as more competent, moral, or disciplined than they are. The Stoic confronts their reality fully, without excuse and without compromise. This honesty becomes the lens through which all growth is measured. Daily reflection, journaling, or conscious self-inquiry reveals patterns, clarifies priorities, and illuminates the path forward. The questions are simple but demanding. Where have I avoided responsibility? What habits are holding me back? How have I compromised my values? Answering truthfully is the first step toward transformation. Honesty is not punishment, it is liberation. It removes the fog of self-deception and allows deliberate action to take root. Each acknowledgement of truth, each moment of reflection without excuse, builds the strength to act decisively and with clarity. To rebuild your mind, start here. See yourself exactly as you are. Accept your weaknesses and embrace the challenge to improve. Through honesty, clarity arises. Through clarity, action becomes precise. And through action, transformation is inevitable. 9. Focus on action, not outcome. Too many people measure their worth by results they cannot control. Success, praise, recognition, or failure are external events, often influenced by forces beyond your reach. The Stoics understood that focusing on outcomes is a trap. It binds peace to chance and leaves the mind vulnerable to disappointment. To fix yourself, you must direct attention to what you can control, your actions, your effort, and your choices. Action is the only reliable measure of virtue. The world may reward or ignore it, but the act of doing what is right is always within your power. The Stoic concentrates on doing the work, cultivating discipline, and following principles rather than obsessing over results. Each deliberate step, no matter how small, strengthens the mind and builds character. Focusing on outcomes creates fear, distraction, and impatience. It tempts you to cut corners, chase external approval, or avoid difficult tasks. By valuing action instead, you reclaim freedom. Effort becomes meaningful in itself. Progress is measured by integrity, consistency, and resilience rather than luck or circumstance. Even in failure, action teaches. Mistakes reveal weaknesses, gaps in preparation, and areas for refinement. They are not disasters, they are mirrors. The Stoic uses them as fuel for improvement, learning, and self-mastery. By prioritizing action over outcome, you become resilient to disappointment, unwavering in discipline, and deliberate in decision-making. You transform frustration into focus and uncertainty into opportunity. The mind that masters this principle becomes unshakable, and life begins to align with purpose rather than chance. If you want to continue learning how to focus on effort, integrity, and deliberate action rather than unpredictable results, subscribe to the channel. Each lesson helps transform effort into consistent progress and resilience. 10. Live each day as if it were your last. Life is fleeting. Time passes relentlessly, indifferent to your plans, desires, or regrets. Most people live as though tomorrow is guaranteed, postponing courage, growth, and truth until some imagined later. The Stoics knew this was a trap. To fix your mind, you must live each day fully as if it were your last, with urgency but without panic. Living this way does not mean recklessness. It means presence. It means focusing on what truly matters: virtue, clarity, reason, and contribution, rather than chasing trivial distractions or fleeting pleasures. It means speaking truth, acting with integrity, and facing challenges with courage, because each moment is finite and irreplaceable. When you live as if you could leave life at any moment, excuses fall silent. Complaints lose meaning, fear diminishes. You begin to prioritize growth over comfort, action over hesitation, and wisdom over vanity. Every interaction, every decision, every effort gains significance. Life becomes deliberate, not accidental. Marcus Aurelius reflected on mortality daily, reminding himself that life is short and every moment is a gift. Epictetus taught that reflecting on impermanence sharpens judgment and strengthens virtue. By embracing this awareness, the Stoic does not dwell in despair. They act with urgency, clarity, and purpose. Each day becomes a laboratory for virtue, discipline, and self-mastery. You act decisively, reflect honestly, and invest in what truly matters. In this practice, ordinary moments transform into profound opportunities. The mind that lives with this consciousness is calm in chaos, fearless in challenge, and unshakable in the face of loss. To fix your life, live deliberately. Treasure the present. Let go of what does not serve you. Act with courage. And in doing so, you transform the ordinary into extraordinary. These 10 rules are not easy. They are brutal because they confront the parts of you that avoid responsibility, discipline, and truth. Yet they are transformative because they work. They rebuild the mind, sharpen the character, and restore clarity. The path is yours to take. Begin today. Face your fears. Embrace discomfort and act deliberately. Own your choices, reflect honestly, and live with presence. Master your reactions, release what you cannot control, and prioritize action over outcome. When you begin to see the world through Stoic eyes, when you master your inner life, chaos loses its power over you. Life becomes deliberate, meaningful, and extraordinary. Each day is an opportunity to practice virtue, cultivate clarity, and strengthen resilience. If this message speaks to you, subscribe to this channel for more Stoic wisdom every week. Practical teachings that rebuild the mind, calm the emotions, and guide you toward unshakable strength. To fix your mind is to fix your life. Start today. Live deliberately. Transform slowly, consistently, and with purpose.